Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Hey, what's going on, Josh?
What's up, buddy?
All right. We're going to try and wrap this thing up by 2 Eastern or 1 Central tonight, guys. So we're gonna try and fly through a lot of this content. We have a lot of great collector questions come in. What's up, everybody? Today is Friday, May the 6th. Welcome to the Crossover. Mail days. I have a mail day. Do you have any?
I have a big mail day, so you go first tonight.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, this mail day already got revealed once, but it wasn't by me. So I'll reveal it myself. It actually was 2 cards. I don't know what I did with the other card, but I'll just show the card itself. Okay, so Josh very graciously picked this up for me. It's the Trae Young Luck of the Lottery Prism Gold. No, Josh wasn't the one who bought this card. I know.
Show the insert that came with it.
I can't find it. I put it on my desk specifically for the show. I know.
Someone saw the picture and they were like, I know where this goes.
So I know everybody was really hoping that was Josh's card, but sorry to disappoint. All right, that's all I've got. What do you got?
Oh, I got some stuff. Well, bad timing. He had a bad game tonight, but still excited.
Oh, I know what this is.
First, okay, so I bought a huge lot, and then I traded most of the lot. So I'm going to show the stuff I traded away.
Yeah.
So, this is the Opulence, I think. Help me out here.
Mm-hmm.
Opulence. Yep. This is actually the 1 of 1. That's a rookie. I traded that. I didn't know what to do with that thing. This one's a National Treasures out of 10. Mikal Bridges. I traded this as well. Okay. National Treasures out of 5. I think that's probably pretty good. I traded that one.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see the return haul.
This isn't really my kind of stuff. This is a 1 of 1 Optic Contenders Mikal rookie. I traded that one.
I would kill to have these cards with my guy.
I know. It's it's the wrong player, correct year. Okay, these are the 2 I'm keeping. These are more my style. I got this one 20 minutes ago. It came super late today. But 2018 Gold Prism PSA 10 Mikal Bridges. How nasty is that?
That's dumb.
Man, these 2018 golds are so nice.
I know.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Wait, did you say that's a keeper, or is that part of the deal as well?
This is a keeper for sure. This is a pop 2. I'm hoping to end up with this Mikal Bridges thing to have 10 just bangers, And then check this out. Is that a banger? I'm keeping this one.
That's so nasty.
You got to get the shine on it a little bit. Dude, these are really cool. These Immaculates with the the color match on the team color, and then the Logoman, obviously, and then the holofoil.
I mean, dude, that's a card that is on a random Instagram account somewhere in China that has 13 likes.
That's where it came from. That's exactly right. It was. I bet you I'll find the post, but I bet you it's 17 likes or something.
God, I mean, those are just cards that you never really expect to have a chance to own. It's just really well done. Though I don't know how you find half the stuff you find.
Instagram, man, the community, people who collect Mikal. I got in touch with a couple guys who collect most of his stuff, and they put me in touch with this guy, and it was honestly pretty quick and easy. I found all this stuff really fast. I got more coming. I'm hoping to end up with 10. As I said, I think I have 7 now. Mm-hmm. You guys saw the other 2 last week. I mean, they're quote-unquote cheap cards for me, but these are some of his best cards, these are pop 3, pop 2, pop, I think this one's a pop 2, and then, a Logoman.
Yeah, it's, you're putting together kind of a checklist of the peak of 2018 rookie card collecting in basketball.
it was looking a lot. I bought all this stuff after that 31-point Game 5 against the Pelicans, and he hasn't played super great since, but still fun to collect. One of my favorite guys on the Suns.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. That it?
That's it, yeah. Is that enough one-of-ones?
Any other Logomans waiting over there?
There was another one-of-one, but I already shipped it out. I traded that too. It was the Silhouettes one-of-one. I had that one too. Fun.
Nice. Well, congrats, man. All right. Many hobby questions tonight. Shall we dive in?
Yeah.
All right. Big question here. I usually don't like to start the show with this type of question, but I didn't have any warm-up questions. All the questions are real serious. So we're just gonna jump right into the deep stuff here.
Okay.
So MJ Collector 1 million says, A, what is the current state of the hobby? And B, what is the potential impact of the current huge golden auction?
Man, you did not warm up. You're right.
No, I know. I'm sorry, but we had a lot of heavy questions this week.
I feel like my feeling on the hobby right now is kind of negative. I'm trying to get past that feeling.
Yep.
I don't know. I just feel like that Logoman tonight from those guys who just are fresh off a scam.
Yep. Logoman. Yep. That's where. Yep.
And I just feel like there's a ton of greed, but and the market's going down. These are kind of some feelings I'm just pushing out. But I just started a new PC. I'm excited about that. State of the hobby is, I feel like it's going to have to shift more towards collecting and more towards collectors. And I've called it on this show a couple of times that you're going to see content shift towards collecting because when prices are going down, there's not much else to glob onto, but just pray the prices go back up, and also, it's okay if I lose all my money. I'm just a collector kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we'll see some more of that, which I think could be fun. It'll weed out some of the stuff that annoys us and put more spotlight on the collectors. So that's a positive, I guess. What do you think?
I agree with you completely. Let's we had some questions about the triple Logoman LeBron getting pulled tonight, and that was kind of part of your recap over the state of the hobby right now. So for those who are unaware, Backyard Breaks pulled LeBron triple Logoman on Whatnot pretty much 1 or 2 days after they announced that they were giving away a yellow Lamborghini to whichever breaker pulled it. I think there was some confusion about who got the Lambo. But, so, and then it got pulled a day or two later by Backyard Breaks. So people had some questions about this, right? Do we want to, I don't know if there's much beneath the surface here, but.
So it's not their card though, right? They pulled it for someone else?
Yeah, as long as they send it.
I feel like last time I heard about these guys pulling a big card, they tried to keep it. But even if they ran away to Mexico or something with this card, eventually they'd have to sell it, and it's a 101, so it's not
right. Gonna be hard to hide it. Yeah.
This one's hard to hide. Yeah. Right.
Honestly, Whatnot probably would have preferred to not have it pulled so quickly. I think they would have liked to build up more momentum, get more breakers on their platform.
Ooh, yeah, because the Lamborghini was a marketing thing to get more people on Whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, it lasted 48 hours. So
Dude, I texted you guys in a group chat we're in where I just said God is cruel. This is just the hobby gods kind of laughing at us, the combination of the Lamborghini, like you said, and then the fact that it's those guys, and everyone is kind of this. Oh my God, anyone but them.
Yeah, such a. It really sums up the hobby in 2022 when filthy rich breakers from breaking companies from a filthy rich online buying and selling platform are giving each other Lamborghinis as prizes for pulling 7-figure sports cards.
For other people. That's the thing, too. It's not even, it's not...
Hey, let my little thing sound
Well, I'm just saying, this
I thought that was pretty good.
It was, but, it also needs to be emphasized, they're pulling these cards for other people.
So she's going right to the core of, even the concept of breaking.
I was ready to say that was a really, sad but accurate recap, and you just nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And it's like, man, do you want to talk about the state of the hobby in 2022? There you go.
Well, I'm like, is it bad that I'm kind of excited prices are going down across the board? Because I like to see people squirm. I like to see people squirm a little bit. And also, I'm buying cards cheaper than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, it's nice to be able to buy a card every now and again that really, hits the collector note. Because I had a drought for quite a while as well, where was picking up Christian McCaffrey 1-on-1s that are worth $100, but and I'm grateful to be able to do that. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to be able to buy some Luka, some MJ, some LeBron stuff again.
I think we bought more this year than we did all of 2021.
Oh, well more. Yeah. Okay, and then the second part of that question was, and what is the potential impact of this huge golden auction? And there was actually one item in this auction that I think is going to be transformative for the entire sports card market. I think this is actually going to take us to the next level as collectors. So this is the Michael Jackson family makeup case, including a personal prescription bottle for Darvasset with a signed photograph. So the current bid is $1,000, 0 bids so far. But I just think the hobby is headed places as collectors branch out into these new and increasingly rarer categories. So
I've been saying
about the gold.
I've been saying for a while. We got the tickets, we got the NFTs, we got the frog pictures, we got the. But what we haven't had is makeup kits, and I think we're just ready for that next step.
We're in the first inning of makeup kits.
It doesn't have any bids though, Chris. There's no action. That's
because I haven't bid yet, and I'm gonna politely ask you guys out there, just back off. I'm gonna be bidding strong on this one, so everybody
save your money, save your clicks, save your finger clicks. This one's going to Chris anyways. So the auction is loaded, obviously. Tons of huge cards. I think it's intentionally actually a smaller auction. There's less overall stuff, but they're all supposed to be huge. So there's like a LeBron gold rookie. Giannis is in PWCC. There's a Curry gold rookie. There's a lot of big stuff.
Yeah, there's tons of big stuff. The 03 Topps Chrome Gold LeBron is probably the one that's captivated me the most upon looking. Zane really wants this to be shown. So, yes, there also is Tupac's 1996 personally owned Hummer with original registration. There it is.
That would be really funny.
I heard Will Smith's buying that.
I think it would be really funny is if you put the shipping address as a vault. Go ahead and ship that into my vault. I don't really want it. It's too big, but I want it. Own it.
And then we could put it on a fractional marketplace, and we could we could mark it up for 5x the auction price, and I'll be rich.
I mean, it's only $100,000, guys.
That's the initial bid.
I think we're on such a roll that I think we just need to start shitting on crypto prices.
It would be a pretty natural pivot from here, right?
You can make a tea about the Hummer and sell that as well.
I was just going to say, if you haven't seen this show before, this is kind of the three of us. This is our sort of personality. We like to have some fun.
We have some fun. So, all right, this is obviously lot number one. Is this Curry absolute one-of-one Logoman? I'm not an expert on Curry's rookie offering, but I believe it's one of only two. Then we have lots of comics and jerseys, which are not even remotely of interest to me. Then we have the LeBron Topps Chrome Gold Refractor, BGS 9.5, True Gem. That's a beautiful card. I'd love to own that card. We have a Jordan 1-of-1 Final Floor from the 99 Upper Deck Final Floor set, which is really cool. Lots more jerseys. Probably see some more comics. Luka's NTRPA Gold, number 7 of 10, that actually sold almost exactly a year ago. That's exact copy.
Jersey numbered.
Yeah. Yep. This is Tatum's NTRPA first off the line out of 15. This is just a casual triple of who many consider to be the three GOATs. BGS 10, no less.
Wow.
Curry, Topps Chrome Gold. Lemieux and Crosby. I mean, I could keep going, but I keep running into comics and jerseys, but lots of really, really great cards in this auction for sure.
There's the first thing I did when I went to that auction was that on the left, there's a category section. You can click basketball checkbox, and it'll just really help you out.
Yeah, that will help out. Yeah, okay, so what he's showing here is you can break it down by category and then by subcategory. So if you want to filter out some of the non-sports stuff, that's how you do it. And, we're not going to go over the whole thing here, but, I mean, yeah, this is...
The Kobe's cool. Another that's 3 straight auctions with that Jordan.
Yeah, so there's a PSA 7 Auto 10 with golden last time around. PWCC sold a BGS 9 Auto 10.
Reverse. You switched them up. It's the other way around.
Sorry. Okay, well, and then now the most recent one we have is PSA 8 Auto 10.
That's not a 10 auto, by the way. It's bubbly.
Yeah. But I guess people don't mind the bubbling. I mean, obviously, yeah, it sucks, but they don't mind the bubbling because it's a good indicator of authenticity. That's a pretty sweet card.
People are selling all their best stuff. It's kind of like, is everyone that worried about the market? I mean, the market's going down the more stuff it sells, but so much of the nice stuff's being sold over and over.
What do you think about this one as a LeBron collector, honestly? Is that one you would add to your PC?
No, I don't like the white shoes. Honestly, like, this might sound weird. Let me just explain it. Can I explain it to you before you just chuckle?
Yes.
In the photo on the card, it needs to look like he's either playing basketball or he's about to be playing basketball, and there's no way that dude's playing basketball anywhere near what he's wearing. And then, like, the suit, I don't like that stuff. That's just my thing. Like, I don't want to, like, go into that too much.
Yeah, I got you.
That's a great card. I love the design. I love the card design. The gold is really nice. I think it's cool.
Yep, this is a really cool card as well. Giannis's True NTRPA BGS 9 Auto 10. You don't see those show up very often, and a BGS 9 is actually a pretty good grade for that one. We got a Mahomes.
Look at that patch.
Beautiful patch. True out of 99 BGS 9 Auto 10. We've got a Josh Allen PSA 10 Gold RPA from NT out of 10. We got Moran's RPA Emerald out of 5. I mean, this is pretty cool, too. This is Leclerc's Superfractor from 2020 Topps Chrome F1.
So is that the equivalent to the other one that just sold for like $1 million?
Yeah, it's the exact same card. Just
it's Leclerc.
Leclerc.
There you go.
Leclerc. Okay. So, not much more to say there. Obviously, this is a pretty important golden auction, and we'll see how it does. When auctions are loaded like this, that might not be a terrible time to maybe take a shot at a card that you might not get another chance to get.
I mean, I was thinking today that, like, the market is going down for sure, but we're nowhere near. So, like, here's my zoom out, bros. I know you guys are listening. We're nowhere near, like, the 2019 prices still. Like, from 2019 to 2021, when it peaked, it went up so much that it could take, I don't know that we'll ever get back to that 2019 level. So for collectors like us that are like, oh, can I buy a, LeBron gold rookie for $50,000 again? Probably not.
Yep. I think that's about right. Well, so Stacking Slab sent in a question. He said, is it safe to send a public service announcement to all the collectors to let them know that this is the right time to buy cards? It feels that way from my experience. Sellers have had more give than ever lately, and auctions are ending at reasonable prices. Would you please discuss?
Why don't you start us off?
I don't like to do that. I think it's a really shrewd question. I think this is something that we all sort of think about is, hey, I would like to get my friends and or family members involved in the hobby, but I don't want to be luring them into the hobby when it's at a peak. Is now a safe time to sort of say, hey, look, this is a decent time to come in and join the hobby. But I personally don't like to advocate for the hobby in that fashion. I really never feel comfortable inviting somebody to just start buying cards on the premise that they're cheap, because it's unknowable. So I do love the spirit of the question. I love the idea of, hey, look, maybe now isn't the worst time to invite friends and colleagues and family to join the hobby. What do you think about that?
I mean, I give this answer the same way every time, and it doesn't change what state the market is in. So the answer I always give is like, what players do you like to watch? You know, what are you interested in? Like, because it's probably some sort of initial discussion where your friends and family bring it up, and they may be interested in it. So like exploring that reason that they're interested, maybe they collected when they were a kid, and now they really like a certain player, something that piques their interest. And you know, I hate to pile on here, but if they were like, oh, I really like Moran, at that point I'd probably be like, you know what, his market's really, really hot. I'd probably say hold off a bit and kind of just watch the market, see what it does, and kind of learn while watching. So it's still like, yeah, you could say cards are down, but there's still stuff that's still pretty expensive. And then like, you know, what's your budget? What type of range are you looking at? You know, if their favorite player is Mikal Bridges, I'd be like, dude, now's the time to go you know, find stuff if you can. You know, it just depends on your budget and stuff.
Right on. Yeah, just to piggyback on that very briefly, here's the thing for me too. For me, the sales pitch for the hobby has always been not market related. The sales pitch for me has always been, ever since I joined the hobby, my life has been qualitatively better. It's more fun to wake up in the morning. It's more fun to hit my phone and start going through my eBay saved searches. It's more fun to go look at my card ladder collection and see what cards are in there. It's fun to hop on social media, to talk to all the friends in the community that I've built. It's fun to see all the cards that are out there. It's fun to chase cards. It's fun to try and track down grails. It's fun to have a heightened connection to the players, whether they're retired or active, that I like to collect. It's just fun. The hobby is fun. It's pleasant. It's enjoyable. My life is worse without it. And so for me, that's why I do the hobby. If the hobby wasn't fun, if I was miserable collecting these cards, if it was stressing me, if I was doing it for, you know, purposes other than because it made me happy, I don't think I'd be long for this hobby, personally. So that's always the approach that I take in terms of, if somebody asks me, why do you love the hobby? It's for those reasons. Those are the primary.
Yeah, I want to expand on why I'm feeling sort of annoyed at the hobby lately, and you're getting close to it, so I think that's a good time. There's just like so much focus on the market and the prices, and either the focus is on like, oh, the prices are going up, or the prices are flat, or the market's down, or inflation and this kind of stuff. Okay. And it's just like, I feel like the number of people where the focus is just like acquiring certain specific cards has dwindled, and that's frustrating. And the reason that I love the market stuff, you and I both love it. We've literally built a company around pricing sports cards. We like it, but we like it as it pertains and relates to the stuff that we enjoy. Like, you can do both. You can actually invest in stuff and make money and buy cards that you enjoy. And I feel like I would love to see more discussion around that. And I don't know, you know, it's just kind of me nitpicking maybe, but I don't know, it's just kind of a bummer. Like, Mikal Bridges is not a good investment, but I feel like it could be. You know, you could potentially, like, you know, say, you know, he's a young player. You could prospect on him. I'm prospecting. He's so young. I'm not trying to like be a millionaire from this stuff, but also like I'm very selective. I'm getting specific cards that I want. I'm actually trying to use my collector intuition on how I do it. Like, certain stuff like this, you know, isn't my cup of tea. So I just sort of trade it, get something I like more. And I'm sort of building this collection. I just want more collection building. Am I crazy?
Not even close, man. Not even close. And, you know, we change over time what interests us, what challenges us in terms of collecting. I thought that was really on point. And there was some questions in the comment section about, well, wait a minute, isn't Card Ladder a valuation tool?
I got you.
And yes, it is. And I acknowledge that there is something seemingly hypocritical about extolling the virtues of collecting over the market, when in fact our livelihood is to a certain extent oriented around documenting the market. And documenting the market is incredibly fun. But here's a couple of responses to that. First, documenting the market doesn't need to be for the purpose of speculation or investment. It can be. And there are people who've been wildly successful investing in sports cards, not just recently, but over a long period of time. But more importantly, documenting prices helps collectors of all stripes make sure that they're paying a reasonable price and that they're conducting research that helps them not overpay for an item when they're going to buy it. And then if they're going to sell it, make sure that they're not underselling themselves. So data is important for establishing market prices, whether or not the ultimate motive is investment. And if it is, that's completely fine. But also if it's not, you still as a collector, you don't want to overpay. Nobody wants to overpay. It's never in anybody's interest to do that. Or if you are overpaying, you want to do it fully aware, as I often do, that you're doing it. So that's one level of response to that. And the second level of response is that you can take an academic interest in the market for sports cards. You can take a plutonic interest in the market for sports cards that isn't related to, making financial gains or losses. It can be, there literally are people in the world called economists who study markets for a living, and they study it because that is a piece of social science phenomena is interesting to them. And you can study the sports card market for the same reason. That's always why I've been fascinated by it, is because of kind of what it reveals about human nature, what it says about human behavior, what it says is about collectibles as a category. There's many reasons to study the market that people can use card data for. And like my final point is this. When we were recently on a podcast with Rob from Sports Card Therapist, who has us on once a month, and he's a great host and has a great show, he asked us, how do you guys use the indexes? And our answer was, we use Card Ladder's indexes to tell stories about how markets have performed over the however long of a period you want to look at. I mean, that's what data is. Data is just a different way of telling a story. Sorry for that boring, long-winded diatribe.
Yeah, I like the research angle. We were always fascinated by the use case of someone coming in and, creating a research paper or a book even around, how the sports card market got to this point. And we've always felt that our data set could, be the basis for that.
Right on. Congrats, Mikey the Breaker, who says, I love sports cards so much I quit my job today. Well done, bud. Welcome.
I know something about that news, but I can't say.
Okay. All right. Well, just wanted to send congrats to Mikey. All right. Welcome to the dark side, buddy. All right. Johnny this is the last of like the big heady questions. All right. Johnny Neiman 034 says, what should we expect the state of the hobby to be in 6 months?
I hate these questions.
I know. So do I. They're so hard.
It's just impossible,
But Josh, like people ask us, I found that like there will be droughts where we won't get a question like this for 6 months. And then at other times, people are really thinking about it.
Yeah, because I sent you like one for sure, maybe two stories of people who were sort of implying, how much more of a beating am I going to take on stuff I bought over the last year, and when is this going to turn around? So I think maybe that's what's coming through. Do you think so?
100%.
I think that's reasonable. It's like it's getting frustrating. The stock market's getting beat up. Crypto market's getting destroyed. The CL50 is down, I believe. Maybe it's upticked a little bit, but like cards have been down, so like it can be frustrating. I don't know, man. 6 months. I just don't. It's really hard for me. Like, yeah, it's gonna be back. I don't even know because there's so many factors. Like the economy could be still going down, and people have less money, and inflation. I don't know.
100%. But I think beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. So if enough people believe that rising inflation and crashing stock market indices and crypto coins, if enough people believe that also is going to cause the sports card market to go down, it will, by virtue of it being a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think that's a very realistic outcome. But on the other hand, the things that are causing movements in those markets are not related to the things that cause movements in the sports card market. It never has been. If we had taken on some enormous amount of institutional capital, if people were looking at sports cards as hedges against inflation, the way they looked at cryptocurrencies, well, then maybe, we would be susceptible to the same market forces that are causing those categories to plummet right now. but we're not. We are just this steady machine. When NFTs started having billions and billions and billions of dollars transacted per month, when it reached its peak, here we were in sports cards, humming along at somewhere between 150 and 250 million a month being transacted through our industry. So we are on a much more slow and steady curve than the crypto markets are, for example. And the things that are moving those markets, the things that are in fact, like, I don't want to do this whole rant again. I did it on Sports Card Therapist. But suffice it to say that the sports card market is independent in many ways from other markets that we see taking a beating right now. So, it's really tough to treat the sports card market as anything but the unicorn that it is.
Yeah, one of my friends asked me, they're like, are your card values going down? And I was like, well, a lot of my stuff is kind of like out of 10 and 20 and 50, and it just hasn't sold. So like my card ladder collection value says not really, but my stock market for sure, my stock market portfolio for sure is taking a beating because that stuff sells. It's, just like liquid or whatever. It's just really hard to compare those two markets. And I don't know why even I feel the desire to do it right now. I feel like we're just being pressured just to bring it up because people keep trying to say the card market's down because of the stock market. And I think that's just simply a fact of, like, if the stock market's down, it means people have less money. If they have less money, they have less to spend on cards. That's just kind of a very simple thing, but you've kind of pointed out the actual markets don't necessarily correlate.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Enough market talk. Let's talk about.
I like this one. House of Wax Sports Card says, I wish more people were honest and said, I don't know. Do that.
Yep.
Yeah. We're not going to pretend always.
No, that takes me back to law school when I had a professor who would say, look, the worst thing you can do when you're standing up in front of a judge or a jury is to lie. If you don't know, either take a moment and gather your thoughts. And like in the pop culture, social media world, in the TV world, it's almost like a death sentence if you hesitate and think before you speak, which is very unfortunate. But it's the opposite in serious domains like a courtroom or like people who are trying to seriously discuss a market or discuss serious topics. My professor would say, either take a second, gather your thoughts, and then when you're ready, say what you have to say and don't say anything more and don't embellish and don't describe things, just be accurate. And then if you don't know, then the only reasonable course of action is to say, I don't know. I need to go look that up and get back to you, or I don't know because that's an unknowable topic. So great wisdom there from our chat as usual, and I totally agree. I think if we're unsure of something like that, I sent you a post today. Golden's Twitter, which is a very entertaining Twitter account, sent out a picture of Joran's Prism Black 1 of 1 and asked, what do you think this is worth? And somebody replied and said, I think this is worth $8,000 to $9,000. And they said, oh, wait, this is a Black 1 of 1. Actually, it's probably worth 13. So this is a person posturing as if they had, and no offense to this person, we've all been there, okay? But this is a person posturing as if they know what this card is worth, and they're speaking from a position of authority, and they were actually citing comps, like, oh, this card in a BGS 10, and they're like, oh, no. And then they authoritatively said that it was worth $13,000. In that instance, you really need to say, I don't know. Just, I don't know. Because that person is off by multiple orders of magnitude. And they're just firing blanks into the internet wilderness.
Yeah, that's the internet, though.
Yes,
Everyone's got to be. It's more important to take a stance and like pick a side than it is to be thoughtful and correct.
Yeah. All right. This is going to be a spicy one, I think. This is a tough topic, but it's really for the well-versed. Cardi C Sports Card says, do collectors of rare and condition-sensitive cards, for example, think of pre-war baseball or 90s PMGs, do those collectors have an obligation to get those cards graded to protect the card for the future of the hobby? Do they have a moral obligation to grade their cards?
Not only to protect the condition, but to have it documented in a population report.
But isn't the other side of this that there is a huge portion, or at least there once was, of the card collector community that don't want to grade cards, and that grading, there are opinions out there on grading ranging from, I don't need a company to tell me what the condition is, I can do it myself, all the way to grading is a full-blown scam. So, okay, right?
Yeah.
So okay, go.
No, I don't think it's an obligation. I think that's not the right word choice, because it's up to the person who owns the card. I do think it's prudent. I think it's wise to grade the cards. Like I said, to get it documented and have professionals look at it and have it in the population reports. So I'll say prudent, not an obligation.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, I get where the point is coming from. I like it as a hypothetical question. But there is a very legitimate portion of this hobby that is simply not interested in grading their cards for myriad reasons. And it's tough for me to say that they have a moral obligation to grade their cards when, grading has only been a part of this hobby for a percentage of its lifespan. There in the 50s and the 60s and 70s, there was not card grading, and there was a lot of collecting going on. So, yeah.
Would you grade this?
I would. I like grading personally.
Would you do any of the authentic stuff, or would you just go for numbers on the auto and the card?
Give me the numbers.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like, I think this is probably going to be like a PSA 6 with a 9 auto. Like, it's got a little bit of something on the auto. It doesn't look perfect to me, but I just like the off thing is just kind of deceptive to me, and it's more about like keeping the value up. And I'd rather document this one of one card as is. Like, this is what it's kind of like, sticking to the concept of not altering the card and keeping it, as it's pulled from its pack. You should grade the card as you get the card, receive in the packaging. Like, this is the way it should be graded. Give me the grade. It's what it is. What it is.
I agree, man. Look, and I'm going to say something that's going to seem very childish, simple-minded, ignorant, naive. Won't be the
so right on brand.
Right on brand. I have always felt like it's actually a privilege to have a professional grader put a number on my card. I've always felt that way. I've always felt like I was paying for something that was neat and cool, and that somebody out there has taken the time to assess the technical condition of my card and then put it into a slab. I always felt that was actually really, on a most basic level, cool. It was one of the things that I liked the most about the hobby when I came back.
You're like, that's just neat. Chris is just you're just like such a happy boy.
I'm just a happy cornball collector.
No, I like that take. I especially like after we visited the offices, knowing the people there actually care about the stuff they get to. It's not really like a factory where they're just churning through cards. They're actually like stopping and admiring ones that they don't necessarily see every day. So that kind of made me smile.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, enough of that sappiness. All right. Lonnie's.
Hold on. I always felt like they were privileged to be able to touch and look at my cards and give a grade. So
there we go. You lucky graders out there.
Yeah. When they get to see the entire Maxi Kleba rainbow, they're the fortunate ones.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Lonnie Walker, the fourth collector. We've talked about this before, but it's on people's minds again. Would the hobby be better off if we had only one or two marketplaces to buy and sell? I feel like we already philosophically drained the reservoir on this topic, because we were talking about this over a year ago. But go ahead.
Just like the logistics of it, it's kind of a silly question to answer because it's not going to happen.
Right.
But one of the things that I think we all sense is frustrating is that the auction houses, and I don't know that they should, they have no moral obligation, but they're not working together in terms of like, hey, I'm also posting this card this month, you shouldn't, so that we don't flood the market. Let's work together. I don't think that's happening enough, and maybe having less auction houses would help with something like that. Because I do know that I've heard that the art market does something like that, and I just don't know how feasible it is for cards because there's just so many cards. It kind of just sounds like a utopian dream that's probably never going to happen. But I don't know.
Yep, nailed it. There's pros and cons to it. All right, from both sides. Well, all right, as a buyer, the more marketplaces there are, the more opportunity there is for something to fly under the radar and for you to get a better price. For a seller, the more marketplaces there are, same thing can happen, but it can backfire. It can be then you're not going to get as much money protection for the card as you want. The case that worries me in particular is this hobby is so complicated. I've told the story before. I won't repeat it, but I tried explaining to a friend of mine how to get a card graded, and it just sounded like I was giving the directions to, drive to a city 20 hours away. Like it just seemed so undoable. Just all the things you have, all the pre-existing knowledge you have to know for how to pull it off. And I worry about that with marketplaces too. I worry that for new people coming into our hobby, it's going to be the more fractured these marketplaces get, the more difficult it's going to be to navigate our community. And it's a big barrier to entry for new people.
Yep.
So, all right. So a couple people were talking about this in the chat, so I'm going to fast forward to this question. Here it is. We actually had 2 questions about this. Mostly 90s basketball card says, please discuss Nat Turner's tweet from today at 5:41 p.m. Which 2 cards do you think he's referring to? And then RJ Hampton said, based on Nat Turner's tweet, which 2 cards do you think got submitted today that he calls 2 of the best basketball cards in existence? Is one of them the Luka Prism Black 1/1? Here is the tweet from Nat at 2:41, according to this computer, which is set to California time because it's a work computer. Nat Turner says 2 of the best basketball cards in existence were submitted yesterday, raw, PSA card from the same person. I still can't believe it. Didn't even know they had been pulled all these years. Okay, so we are not going to disclose what the cards are. But I don't know. What do you want to say about it? It's going to be revealed next week, right?
Yeah, just wait. I know we know what they are, but just wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, I don't know what they are. What the fuck?
Nat, you have to touch Christina, man.
I think you gotta get on the company Slack. I don't know. You're slacking. You're slacking.
I'm literally logging in right now. I better have a fucking Slack message.
It's not the Luka 101.
That's right. So let's just kill any dreams of it being that right now. But
it's the Luka 2 of 2.
They are cards worthy of the hype.
I feel like really disappointed right now.
Go look on Slack. Like Josh said, you're not being a good company woman.
Next question.
Next question is from Ricky Puyido. Are you looking forward to Prism basketball this year? Funny to ask that when we're halfway through the playoffs. No, why not?
Because I don't collect that stuff. So this would be like Cade Cunningham's rookie year?
Yeah, yep. Cade and Mobley and Scotty Barnes and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey?
I'm good.
Dude, I can't wait for Prism to come out. We always buy at least a few boxes. All right. GGIT 412. I like this. I don't know what you're going to pick. But I know what I'm going to pick. So GGI tells you choose one. Either card grade 10, auto grade 9, or card grade 9, auto grade 10.
Card grade 9, auto grade 10.
Same for me. It didn't even take a half a second. I'm right there with you as well. Do you want to talk about that at all? Why? Why do you?
I'd rather have. Here's a spicy take. I'd rather have a card grade PSA 7 auto grade 10 than a 10-9.
Because it's just so unusual to have an auto grade of less than 10. Is that why?
No, it's not unusual. It's just that if I'm buying an autograph card, I want it to be a perfect autograph. I just it's got to be really, really good.
Yeah, it would take a lot of getting used to a card that had less than a 10 auto. But it could be done. But it would just take some getting used to. There's also like something asymmetrical that bothers me about the auto grade being lower than the card technical grade. Yeah, I know.
I have a card that's an auto grade 8. I feel like it's pretty harsh. It looks like a 9 auto, but it's like a little streaky at one point. But it's not like it's not because the auto is faded or it's like he went off the edge. It's literally just because there's one part where his pen is a little bit different than the other parts, and it doesn't take away from the visual appeal of it. So it doesn't bother me. If it's more about like if there's bubbling or the card's faded and the auto gets like darker over time, that would bother me.
D-Nick the One says, card grade authentic, wine spilled on the autograph and destroyed. That's the one I want.
It's got a story to it.
It's got a story to it. Speaking of stories, our next question from Flippin' Hoops. What was the story of your first Grail card? And did it feel more memorable than your last Grail card? Your most recent?
Well, we were pretty liberal with the term Grail. Like it's not necessarily tied to a value. So I'll just say like the first expensive card that I bought, which was came into my possession through a friend. So that was like it was the 98 PMG Gold Penny Hardaway. That was like my first card that I ventured into spending more than, $100 or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say that's more memorable than my most recent. I mean, this is, the stuff I got today is probably my most recent. So sadly, it's becoming a little bit more of a common thing now when I get a Grail every other month. Not to sound like a dick, but the process of it is kind of, we know the drill.
Yep. Same answer for me. First Grail I would ever consider I bought was 1993 Scoring Kings Michael Jordan BGSA 5.
Wow.
It's easily the most memorable card I ever bought. I was on the verge of having a heart attack when I won the auction. I was so excited. I was so nervous to have spent $115 on a sports card. I could not believe it. I was very nervous about it. And bear in mind, this was in my summer off in between college and law school. So I was like, just not really. I was poor.
You were just poor.
So it was nerve-wracking. It was extremely memorable. And every card purchase since has been chasing the dragon of that rush. And it'll never be matched. And that's just, it just is what it is. And so that's what all your friends and our colleagues have to look forward to in this hobby is like that peak, that crescendo, that we wish we would almost give anything just to have that initial moment of discovery back.
When you were talking about earlier about how you were kind of hesitant to get friends and family into the hobby, when you were talking about that, I was kind of thinking, like nobody got me into the hobby. I just sort of became obsessed with it on my own.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like there's something to that where I shouldn't have to convince you to do something or you're just never going to actually like it yourself. You're never going to like long-term like it yourself. You're always going to have this thing kind of holding you back because you needed someone to push you over,
Couldn't agree more. That's why, I'm comfortable sort of maybe welcoming people to, hey, look, I'm on Instagram. I have an obnoxious sports card Instagram account. Maybe go check that out if you want to see what I spend my life doing. But, other than that, I'm not making a hard sell. And, to be honest, I don't want to be bothered with questions from these people.
There it is. We found the real reason. Thinker.
All right. Moving on. Drake's PC says, he always has great questions. Drake's PC is the new MVP of season 2.
Cards and Candy. What are you doing?
Candy was MVP for a while, but
nice.
He asked all his questions. He's past his prime. Drake's PC is the MVP for this year.
Drake's very genuine. Like, he really wants to know the answer. He's not just doing it to pass time.
Oh, he asks.
Not that Cards and Candy's not doing that, but we get some where it's just like, you have to ask just to pass the time.
Yeah. So he goes, the majority of my collection is retired athletes, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. I'd like to start a collection of an active player, but I'm not sure where to start. I don't really have a favorite team in Major League Baseball or in the NBA. My favorite team in the NFL is the Saints, but I would rather light my money on fire than spend money on Jameis Winston cards. How dare you, Drake? He wants to know, do we have any advice?
Well, we both are going to have very different advice, I feel, because you go full boat on your guys, and I sort of like, I'm kind of a baby. I'm kind of a bit more conservative about it. Like, I'll spend a lot on LeBron, but I'm just not going to do that with
right.
CP3 and Bridges. But you, on the other hand, are kind of doing the opposite of that.
Right. Well, first of all, let's not knock Jameis Winston. His stats, especially his advanced stats, are really good. Jameis Winston is good, man. And he had some rough years there in Tampa Bay. But okay, if you don't want to do Jameis Winston, look, here's what I like to do. I like to look into, because a lot of people in this hobby are not taking advantage of the more nerdy, intelligent content that exists for sports like baseball, football, and basketball. Like, it does happen more in the baseball space. It doesn't happen as much in football and basketball. Like, I would go do some deep dive statistically, look at some guys who have already accomplished a lot but still have a lot of runway to do more, and try and settle in on a player that I feel very confident rooting in because they've got some level of significant proven success. But here's a caveat to that. That's where I thought Christian McCaffrey was going to be, given what he had accomplished through the early portion of his career, and then he spent the last 2 seasons being injured. So, especially in football, that's a big risk and a big worry. But that's what I would do. I would do a deep dive. I would really size up these players. I'd look at, because once you find a player, you're going to become a fan of that team. I'd look into the podcast that team has surrounding them. And, that's what I would do. What would you say, Josh?
I would take my time and make sure you find the perfect player. Because once you start, and knowing Drake, he's kind of similar to us, and he's just not going to – he's going to kind of go all in and do it right. I would say just spend a lot of time picking the player, because once you start buying that player, there's almost no turning back.
Yes.
So just make sure that you're going to have fun with it. Make sure it's someone you're going to enjoy watching on Sundays, or if it's basketball, every other day. And you got to like the player. You got to have fun with it. You can't just pick someone based purely on prospecting and money, or it's just not going to be ever fun enough. So you got to pick someone you enjoy watching.
100%. Okay. JGP Collectibles, Jose, says he wants us to ask the chat, but we'll answer as well. He says, please poll the chat. What do you guys prefer, refractors or autographs? Do you have a preference?
I do. Refractors.
I feel like, how does anyone who's watched the show before not know that the answer for all 3 of us is
Well, that's why he wanted the chat to be bold, I think. But
we got refract. Well, I mean, you can't. A prism is not a refractor, right? Are we gonna? If you want to get technical.
Oh well, sure, yeah, we can get technical. That's right. It's a prism. prism.
That's probably not in the spirit of the question.
That's
just me being a dick.
We've got a few autos coming in here as well. And some refractor, auto.
You remember when we first came into the hobby, just how patch autos kind of dominated the space in terms of the high end, and also refractors were kind of, I don't want to say silly, but definitely a secondary choice when looking at rookie cards and investing and stuff. Patch autos were always the big deal.
Absolutely. I think there's a pretty even split here. I'm seeing a lot of autos in the answers as well. Autos better, y'all some haters. Oh, all right. Let's go to that question. Because we're getting a little spicy now. We have to get spicy in hour 2 because there's only going to be, we're keeping it short tonight, guys. Where is this question? Here it is. Brendan Ryan, 74. I see him in the chat as well. What's up, Brendan? He says, with any luck, Josh tonight will be in a good mood and bless us with a unique brand of player hater metrics. And then I replied to that comment and I said, that is definitely our style. We are petty and we enjoy it. I actually posted a great meme today. There was this meme on Twitter for a while that was just stop hating on things. Let people enjoy things. But then that meme got turned on top of itself by other people who said, well, then let people enjoy hating things. If we're gonna play the game of look, and this actually has roots in a real philosophical topic called global skepticism. If you're skeptical of everything, or if you're open-minded and accept everything, then you don't have a leg to stand on. If you say, you know, you have to like everything, then you also have to like people who are hating things. It's an actually, at its core, it's an internally contradictory position. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the happiness and the pleasure and the release and the satisfaction that comes with hating things.
I definitely lean towards hating things over liking. It just like makes me feel better. It's just a natural. Dude, half of our texts are just like shitting on things. More than half. It's like mostly what we do. I don't know. I don't have that much to say about this topic. That's like, you know, like it'll come up. There'll be stuff I don't like. I don't know. I don't want to just like explore everything I don't like right now. There's a lot of stuff.
No, but people I think it's important to understand that there's something very natural about not liking everything.
Mm.
And there's also something natural. Jordan, I don't know if you know this, but I've been dubbed the Lex Luthor of the hobby in some corners of this hobby. So, yeah, let's just make the speech for hate right now. Hating things, hating NFTs, you know, so on and so forth. You know, we all don't have to feel that way, but there are people who definitely do not like things, and that is okay. And let's not get too riled up or passionate about it. It's like we don't need to be white knights for the cause of loving everything under the sun. And it actually gets dangerous when we give permission, carte blanche, to just everything is a glass half full, because that's when bad actors take advantage of people's naivete, which happens in this hobby from time to time.
We usually have pretty decent responses for why we hate things. Isn't that important? Like, you can't just blindly hate everything, but I have lots of reasons why I hate NFTs. I think they're stupid. I don't even know what I'm buying. Like, it's just a picture on a computer. I can just Google image search. You know, I have reasons. You know. Yes,
definitely. Okay, but good. Also, Weekend Up Nate, who's a very fair and open-minded and fun commenter and person to chat with in the hobby, and great collector. He kind of like nudged me a little bit when I made a tweet or an Instagram story the other day that said, you know, basically, welcome back to the hobby, NFT collectors. And then I posted a screenshot of a Wall Street Journal article that was absolutely trashing the market. And then I posted Michael Jordan's facts that said, I'm back. And I said, this is NFT collectors coming back to sports cards. And he was just like, look, dude, just like, you know, basically the essence of it was like, damn, you are always shitting on NFTs. And I'm just like, man, you know, first of all, like, it's a little dangerous to constantly be hating on things because you build quiet enemies. Yeah. But you know what? Having a few quiet enemies keeps you sharp, keeps you on your toes. And, you know, look, man, people should be given the leeway. Can we just make like a rule of society? Anybody can arbitrarily, capriciously hate 3 things, carte blanche, no explanation needed.
Yeah. Well, also, like, the Luthor, what is it, Lex Luthor? That's like a bad guy or something?
Yeah, yes.
I don't dick about Marvel, by the way, or all that stuff. That's not even Marvel. You guys are just going to kill me on all this stuff. I've kind of, like, sensed that people are, like, thinking that of you recently. Like, I've heard it from certain people, and it's just sort of coming up. But every time you guys I'm with you in person, you guys are here, I'm like, I don't get it. I hate the term teddy bear, because that's a stupid term. But you are pretty, like, mild-mannered and, like, friendly. So it's just like a pretty interesting take to hear people like think of you that way because of your spicy takes on stories. So
look, I mean, I have my list of 3. There are 3 things that I demand the permission to hate, and I can rotate them in and out. So I can have one, but I can substitute out for another from time to time. And guess what? If everybody grant me that, I will grant everybody else that. And we'll all go on having our subset of things that we hate, our other subset of things that we love. And
Well, when you start hating on John Morant a lot, I'll let you have it. I'll give you your rope. But then when he scores 47 and he wins the game scoring the last 11 points, I think other people are allowed to come back at you, and I'm allowed to be like, yo, dude, he's pretty good.
Yeah, go for it. But then that ups the ante because
Lex Luthor, you are Lex, that ups the ante.
Yes, I am.
Like it's some sort of war.
That I'm a bad person to have hating things, because if I start hating something and then I go back and forth with somebody about it, it's not usual that I will back down. There are other people who will hate something to a limit and then they'll back down. So, but I don't. So maybe it's just a bad personality.
Maybe the Lex Luthor thing is accurate.
Compilation.
Maybe the Joker.
The Joker.
That's not the same universe.
I think it is.
I don't know what is in what universe.
Isn't Lex Luthor Superman?
Yeah, but like Metropolis is nowhere near Gotham.
But isn't like the DC world aren't like Justice League, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the same universe. It's just not the same. It's not the same like route. Like the Batman Superman thing. Like that. That's like new that they like are in the same like area and they like fight. You could be Joker if you want. That's fine.
Who do you want to be, Josh? Who's your Marvel character?
I can't even name like 3 Marvel characters. Spider-Man?
Neither can I. I honestly don't even understand any of these references.
Yeah, I'll be Spider-Man because he's the only one I can name.
Good. Josh has dubbed himself Spider-Man.
Ugh, don't fucking say that in a bite that someone's gonna take.
All right.
I want to be a bad guy too. I don't want to be a lame good guy. Who's the bad guy? I'll be the Green Goblin. I'll be fucking riding around on my like surfboard and laughing at people or something.
Green Goblin. All right. So, all right. Next question here. D-Nick the One, by the way. That's how you get me going. He puts in the chat, John Morant is better than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, see,
Those are fighting words. I'm not going to mince words.
You're actually pretty easy to get going, though.
Oh, yeah. Look, Ben. I'm not going to weigh in on something unless I have a very, very slam dunk argument for it. If people have the audacity to challenge me on my points, get ready for a little bit of pain, because more likely than not, it's coming.
Yeah, but Ja being bad at basketball is not a slam dunk.
Well, nobody said he's bad.
I don't know what you're saying then.
I'm saying that Ja Morant is being mentioned in the same breath as Michael Jordan.
So is Luka.
A number of, well, I'm happy to have that debate because Luka and Ja Morant are in 2 entirely different categories of basketball players.
Yes, but that's not the debate. The debate is that you're annoyed that a player is mentioned in the same breath as Michael Jordan.
Yes, because he's not deserving of it. And you can look at Ja Morant's production. Here, let's take a guess. How?
Oh my God. Okay, you want to make it Ja versus Luka. That's what you want. Because if the debate is Ja is not Michael Jordan, that's an easy one.
Yes. Well, both are easy. What's Lex Luthor's?
Well, so is the Luka and Jordan one. That's also quite easy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree.
Because I've been seeing all week that Luka is outscoring Jordan in playoff scoring now. It's like, oh my God, wow. 15 games in, look at this guy. Didn't Jordan, I think I saw a stat that Jordan averaged like 39 in his first 15 games.
Yes, that's the correct comparison, is, first 15 or first 18 games. And when you line it up like that, there's a few guys who are more than 33.5 or whatever.
Didn't he score 63 in like his second playoff series?
Yes. I don't know if it was his second, but yeah, that was the infamous playoff series where Larry Bird said, this is God disguised as a basketball player.
63 points.
And that was in the midst of Larry Bird winning 3 straight MVPs. And Larry Bird is not the guy. Larry Bird is the guy who walks in a 3-point contest and says, who's getting second place? He's not a guy who hands out compliments like that.
Right. Please move on. I just do not want to get on this path. Christina, don't laugh. Get me out of here.
Okay, all right.
We only have a short amount of time this week.
Gosh, you have hit the eject button.
I'm hitting it.
He's just, what does Green Goblin ride? Does he have a vehicle?
It's like a surfboard kind of thing.
He is surfing out of here. All right. Patriot Sports Card says, what part of the collecting experience drives most of your satisfaction or enjoyment? Is it acquiring rarity? Is it card aesthetics? Is it obtaining a grail? Is it the challenge of set completion, or is it some other reason?
I think it's just like acquiring that next grail, you know?
Yeah. The hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure about that. I don't even know if I could break it down into one thing to be.
Yeah.
Totally.
I almost, until you said that last part, I was going to say all of those, but.
Yeah. I'm probably more in all of the above as well. All right, Mike Pinkerton 50 says, are card shows driving the hobby right now? And by the way, Mike asked a few weeks ago, are collectors driving the hobby right now? So he's sort of testing the waters, asking different questions. The question this week, are card shows driving the hobby?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think they're an important aspect, but I don't think they're driving.
Yeah, that's fair. How important? If shows went away, is that tough? Is that is that something that's going to set the hobby back?
Well, last time we lost shows, it was the biggest boom in the sports card history. So I don't, you know.
Amen.
I remember we were doing those Instagram shows. Remember those? We were like, there was a couple times we had virtual card shows on Instagram. I feel like that was when the card market was really taking off, but I don't think they're correlated necessarily.
That was actually great because I remember 610 Sports Cards organized, especially when like it was not an easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm going to stand up, take the time out of my schedule and my professional life, my personal life, to organize the very first virtual sports card show. I'm going to do it on Instagram, and I'm going to set it up so that different people have different tables and different times, virtual tables, and like here's the list of all the people. And I had a blast rotating through everybody's different lives, sort of following along. I remember people would do it in different ways. They'd be playing music. Some would be quiet. Someone would stay on for a while and just hang out. It was really cool, like just kind of seeing. For me, I wasn't buying or selling anything. I was just like looking at collections, basically, is what it felt like. Well, then guess what? A few months later, one of the content creators in the hobby decides to completely copy this concept, all the way down to calling it the virtual sports card experience. And rather than just tipping the hat to the person who invented the concept, rather than reaching out to that person to maybe involve them, since they're literally the person who developed the idea, who developed the concept, and who acquainted the hobby with it. Instead, this person just stole the idea and made it seem like it was theirs. And it was garbage, and it was disrespectful to the hobby, it was disrespectful to collectors, and it was corporate sellout bullshit that really made me sick. So there's my fucking rant on virtual card shows.
And also, when Justin stands up, you notice.
That's true.
I do remember that now. That was a weird thing.
That irritated me to no end. And it was just one thing in a longer pattern and practice of total disrespect and stealing of content and ideas from people in this hobby. And it was infuriating. All right. And then they turned it into, as the chat pointing out, then they turned it into.
Then it morphed into that eBay thing, didn't it?
Well, yeah. And look, this is not a rant against eBay.
No, it became that, like, it became a, like, sponsorship kind of thing.
Correct. All right. Okay. Card Cowboy Cap says, it's a good question. Is there a bubble forming in gold cards?
Am I missing something? Like, are they overpriced, overheated? Kind of thing?
Yes, exactly.
I have a really hard time separating my bias of like how much I love gold cards, and I never have thought about it in terms of like. But I guess I should, because I thought Kaboom cards were in a bubble. So,
well, I mean, they were. They're not setting all-time highs every day of the week anymore.
Yeah, I guess I'm struggling because that gold term is just so broad. It's just way too hard to wrap my arms around what specifically is too high or too low. I don't know. I guess no.
Yeah. There's definitely something to it. There does seem to be a hyper focus on them. They've almost become a shortcut to collecting / investing. But the beauty of the gold parallel, and this will tie into a question we have later if we get to it. The beauty of the gold parallel is that there's only 10 copies in the Panini era of gold parallels. And that allows you to collect, and there's basically a gold parallel for anything, for any insert, for any base card. There's almost always a gold parallel or a parallel out of 10. And so if you just kind of stick to that theme, that allows you to collect a really rare version of that card. And so you kind of have the scarcity factor with it. You have the continuity of the gold parallel from set to set. I do think there is something elegant about the consistency of the gold parallel out of 10.
Isn't there also like a biological scientific reason that we're super attracted to gold?
I don't know what that study or theory is, but it wouldn't surprise me.
There's a cultural significance to gold because it's been our currency for so long. So human beings are naturally attracted to shiny things, and then gold is considered currency and has been for the last 1,000+ years, thousands of years. Therefore, you see gold and your lizard brain, evolution-wise, starts saying money, wealth, power, give me.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. Mike K. Sports Card says, if I crack and resubmit a card to PSA that is numbered out of 10, will PSA know that they had graded it before?
I thought the answer was yes, but people have been sending me examples where that's not true.
Ditto.
Okay, good. I'm glad we squashed that. I've had 2 people recently crack and resubmit a card and get a higher grade and or lower grade, and it was a serial numbered card, and I was like, really? I thought that was... I don't know anything anymore.
Me either. Okay, Big John Collector's Cards says, and Christina, this is for you as well. What is your best card shop experience?
Ooh. This one's rough.
This is really tough because, here's a couple things.
Card shops.
Here's a couple things, too. Card shop owners are very proud of their businesses and sometimes are competitive against each other. And sometimes not all card shop owners are of the same quality and have the same best interest of the hobby in mind. So it's really difficult to name one card shop because you don't want to, offend or speak on, elevate somebody who shouldn't be elevated, but you just don't know any better. That's the tough part about this.
Well, I won't offend anyone because I've been to 7 card shops total. So I'll say the Bleecker Trading, I thought, because it was a trade night that was sort of, organized around Card Ladder and the team and stuff. So that was kind of a fun thing. And, it was a fun night. They had Truly's set up and a bunch of my friends were there, and we opened packs, and it was just a fun night. Good.
I'll tell Christina's favorite story.
Let's see if he gets it right.
Christina loves this story, and I'll keep it short and sweet. There used to be a card shop in Rockford, Illinois, our hometown, that's no longer there anymore. What was it called?
Collector's Bench.
The Collector's Bench. And this was back in the winter of 2018. Christina had just pulled the Luca Orange from a hobby box, Luca Prism Orange out of 49. And we took it up to the shop and showed it to the shop owner, and he was very impressed. He was building a Luca collection at the time, and he said, how much do you want for that card? I'll buy it from you right now. And Christina says, hell no, I'm not selling this card. I'm never selling this card. And he was equal parts offended and shocked. Yes, Brad Parvin. That's exactly right, Jay George. And so he was equal parts shocked and offended that Christina wouldn't sell him the card. And so he was like, what did you do? You just brought this card up here to just show off your stupid card and not to do anything with it? And Christina was like, yeah, that's exactly right.
And then he went on live Facebook later that night and said, I had someone come into my shop today to show off their card, their Luca, and wouldn't even let me hold it.
Yes. So, is it any surprise that Christina's favorite experience
That's
involves
your
shitting
favorite.
on a card shop owner?
No, that's your favorite experience.
No, it's not. My favorite experience is the most recent one. We went to Mike Stadium Sports Cards in Denver. Great shop, great guy. Bought 2 boxes of 2017 Prism Retail.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. I've never had I love going to shops. I can't pick. That's why I'm just going with the last one. All right.
That's not my favorite experience, though.
Good God. What's your favorite experience?
I'm just saying, you answered for me, and, like, you made me sound like a horrible person. And, I mean, I am a horrible person.
Yes, you helped.
But, like, you're the one who told me to bring the car.
What is your favorite experience?
Breaking a bullpen.
Breaking a bullpen?
Yeah.
Breaking a bullpen. All right. There we go. What was your trademark saying?
Wicked fucking kaboom. Or no, fuck. Fuck. This was before, kabooms got big. It was wicked fucking boom.
Yes. She just came up with that on the spot. All right. One of Collectibles says, where do you see the hobby in 10 years, and how will this time be looked back upon?
Are you serious, Chris?
Yes.
God damn it. 6 months and now 10 years?
10 years.
God.
10 years. I tried to slide that one in, but nothing's getting past you guys.
Nice try, guy.
All right, let's go. 10 years, that's a long time, my friend. Let's hope we're all alive. Everything 323 says, I need more information on this card trimming scandal. And to that I reply, I agree. And it's a terrible look for the hobby. It's a huge issue, and it ain't going away. So, but what I would say is we talked about it quite a bit on last week's episode of the crossover. And I know that's 4 hours of garbage to wade through, and then we also talked about it on the Sports Card Therapist podcast this week at length. So if you don't mind, so we can keep moving with the questions, we don't repeat content for people who've already heard it. There are 2 places you can go, and we talk about it quite a bit. And we're not done talking about it either. You want to add anything, Josh?
Nah.
All right. Drake's PC says, having not had exposure to market cycles prior to late 2019, which is when he came back to the hobby, are we starting to see a return to what the normal pre-COVID market cycles used to look like? Or is this still a period of abnormality? Something that, like basically what we've seen for the last 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. But now it just feels like this year is still kind of a rebound downward from all the booming we've had the last year. So I'm still hesitant to say yes. I guess the question is probably referring to, off-season prices go down, preseason prices go up. So I think we still see quite a bit of that. We saw like a resurgence of baseball this preseason, spring training leading up to the season. And then we've seen football prices go down now that the season's over. But basketball has kind of been flat all year, so I don't know. It's a little bit of hit or miss, I guess.
Yep, I think that's about right. I don't think there's ever really normalcy in the sports card market.
Yeah,
there's too many variables.
Right.
Like
the second that patterns emerge, people try to go against the patterns to make money, so it always just never is quite goes to script.
Totally. Here, let me stand on soapbox for a brief moment here and actually say something nice about our hobby. This hobby has faced obstacles that would devastate other industries, such as, for example, the music industry. Imagine if in the music industry there was no new music released for a year. Well, in the hobby, we have a period right now where for the entirety of the football season, with a class that has 5 very exciting quarterback prospects from Justin Fields to Mac Jones and so on and so forth, Prism football didn't come out during the season. All of the momentum and the energy that is generated by the calendar of product releases was not able to happen this season whatsoever. But the football market thrived this season, notwithstanding that. Basketball, same thing. Prism basketball is nowhere near coming out, as far as I understand. And we are halfway through the playoffs. Usually Prison Basketball comes out during the first month of the season. These product releases are so important to the calendar, to the cycle, to the energy, to the enthusiasm, to the lifeblood of this hobby. And we have been totally deprived of it. And here we are still with a mostly stable market for the last year. Second, the grade and flip world that has fueled so many of our collections over the years, that has been such a fun part of sort of the busy work of the hobby, picking out raw cards on eBay, buying boxes, opening them, being able to reliably send them to PSA or one of the other grading companies and get them graded for $12 or $15. If they tend, being able to sell them for some multiple of the cost of our grading and the cost of opening it. That infusion of liquidity, that other lifeblood of the hobby, has not been with us for over a year. It was 14 months ago that PSA closed its doors to taking submissions, normal submissions at normal pricing, and we're not. It's going to be another quarter or two before PSA has cleared the backlog and is back to that level. And so, without the most important infusion of liquidity that so many collectors, from the high end to the mid to the low to dealers, that the grade and flip game has been completely taken away, and the fact that product release calendars are completely scrambled, and just these things would devastate other industries, and here we are treading water for the last year. So kudos to our industry on that. All right. B-Cart99 says, what is your favorite obscure Panini insert?
I can't even name an obscure one.
Net Marbles.
Yeah, well, Net Marbles is not really obscure. I just want to ask this question because it gets people thinking, it gets their juices flowing. It's a good question. I had some people DM me some interesting ones. There's some interesting ones from 2012 Prestige. There's one that looks a lot like Power and the Key that I'm forgetting the name of. I didn't write these down, and I'm realizing right now that I should have. There are lots of obscure, interesting Panini inserts out there. Check out Mission Street Cards on Instagram. He basically messaged me. He was like, I could just give you my whole page to look at, basically, because it's all obscure Panini inserts for LeBron. So check out Mission Street Cards.
There's a LeBron. I bet he has it. It's LeBron in front of a city building. I don't know what the insert's called, but I've always thought that was kind of a cool looking card.
Yeah. Yep. All right, I'm just going to give a quick scroll to, here's all of his ridiculous and messy chrome superfractors and stuff. Once we get past these, we'll get to his LeBron collection. Damn, this guy's got some sick soccer cards. Okay, so here's he's got the Aurora from 2018-19 Court Kings. Not quite sure how to pronounce this one because it has a French name, but it's a cool looking one as well. Gallery of Stars. There's a Galactic. He's big on those. This is Obsidian Vitreous, I believe it's called. Just look. We're not going to go over the Pacific Marquee is a neat.
There it is. You're about to see it. No, down.
Right here.
That one. Which
comes from Spectre. That looks a lot like High Risers, the Midnight.
What's it called? City Limits? That's cool.
This is called City Limits from Spectra, which is a really cool product. So, look, we're not going to have time to go over
Knights of the Round. That one's cool.
Yeah, the Knights of the Round is really sharp. It's die cut, too, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
These are nice. I know people like these a lot, the 2012 Prestige Playmakers. This is 2013 Prestige Playmakers. This is one of the other years. So, all right. Yeah, great page to check out if you want to see some of Panini's more obscure inserts.
Nice.
Cardboard Insight says, would subcontracted card designers help the manufacturers push card innovation forward, or is there just too much red tape?
But they already have designers in house, so how would the subcontractors help them?
And I understand 90s collectors, have a style, they like the way the technology is being used to really innovate and drive card production. And we're in kind of a different era now, but I think Panini does a pretty nice job. You were showing off 2018 Panini products that are just absolutely gorgeous. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
And Upper Deck is using Arena Design as a contracted designer.
There you go.
Yeah, and to be fair, no matter what they do, people like me are going to be critical because we're just so nostalgic for the stuff that we enjoy collecting. So it's just kind of an uphill battle. And also, I'm not sure that introducing a a contractor into a space where there's full-time designers is necessarily good for like morale in a company. Like, hey, we brought in this guy to design better than you. Like, what? Then just fire me and get a different designer.
Fair enough. But there will always be a contingent of collectors who are wanting, who will never be satisfied.
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and that's okay. That goes back to the theme from earlier that it's okay to hate on things. And the burden is more so on the object of the hatred to accept the fact that that's part and parcel of human life, human existence. Okay. I am Lukey says to grade or not to grade 1 of 1s.
Well, I'm going to grade mine 1 of 1 tonight, so I say grade.
Yep, me too. Easy one for me as well. Hot Sauce Sports Card says, what is a sleeper product that you like besides 2017 2017 Status Basketball, which I've given a lot of accolades to. Another product I like is Threads from any year. I think Threads is a good-looking product, and it's cheap. And that's mine. Do you have like a product, or it doesn't have to be the product, it could be a card from the product that you think is a sleeper?
I've always thought, this is kind of a cliche answer, but I've always thought Optic was pretty fairly priced every time, and I get waxed. I usually try to find Optic because it's like shiny chrome. It looks like Topps Chrome to me, and it's like vastly cheaper than Prism. And they have the same sort of parallels and structure.
All right, B-Daw's card says, why is Ricky Henderson included in the card ladder 50? What is it about his card that makes it relevant in the hobby? I'm asking more from the angle of how does Ricky Henderson make the cut for the 5 to 10 baseball players that are represented in the CL50? I'm guessing it's more about the population and the card itself than it is about the player.
So I put that list together. When I was doing baseball, I obviously struggled I was doing my best, but I think I did some pretty good research in terms of like what are the most, popular baseball cards of all time, and the Henderson kept coming up. And then my response is like, is there something I'm missing? Like, give me what's a better one to replace it.
Yep.
And I'll look at it.
Just say a few nice things about Ricky Henderson. Last time ESPN published its top 100 baseball players of all time, he was listed as 23rd. The market cap on the Ricky Henderson Topps Rookie PSA 9 is over $4 million. It's a card that's a pretty decent index card. It's clearly an iconic baseball card.
It needs to be somewhat liquid.
Sorry?
It needs to be somewhat liquid, and
Yeah.
of the 22 players ahead of him, I would venture to guess that a lot of them are from the early 1900s and don't have liquid baseball cards. So that is probably a good reason. Yep,
and some of the other players who are ahead of him are already in the list as well. But yeah, I mean, he like Mickey Mantle, for example. But actually, I'm not sure if Mantle's ahead of him on the list or not. But there were a few other players that we had that were ahead of him on that list. Just kind of speaking to the liquidity of the card, that is important. And this index is looking to capture something, important hobby-wise. The era that Henderson card comes from is very nostalgic for a decent segment of this hobby. And the card itself is absolutely iconic. And anytime a PSA 10 grade of that card, which the index tracks the 9 because of the transaction volume on it, but anytime a 10 comes up, it's news. People are watching and they care about where that card sells.
Which grade do we have in our? Is it the 9?
PSA 9. Yep. Okay. Some more questions about the indexes. So the 615 collector says he has 3 words for us: equal weighted indices. Which what he's talking about is weighting the indexes such that right now there are no weights attached to the value of the cards in the indexes. And what he's saying is weight it, according to market cap, for example, and then a card like the Henderson PSA 9 will have a much larger, a more outsized impact on how that index moves relative to the PSA 10. Because when the PSA 10 sells, that card is in the 6-figure range or pretty close to it, if I'm not mistaken. If that card moves up or down $20,000, that's a much bigger impact than if the PSA 9 moves up or down 20%. That's almost not even going to show up. So that's his point. So do you have any thoughts on this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about it?
Well, we do see that sometimes. We'll see a card that has sold for $1 million, sell for $500,000, and it looks like their entire market cratered. So we've noticed that for sure. you can actually map up on an index of a player. Like you'll see a sales volume spike and you'll see their index go up or down.
Yep.
I guess we'd have to explore the reality of what the change would be, but in general, those big time sales like the Moses Malone moved the index a bunch, but then it also like started to make his other stuff go up. So it's almost like a decent leading indicator of where the market could be headed based on a big, public sale.
I tend to agree with that too, and I see the argument for a market cap weighted index, and different stock indices like to do that sometimes too. But the counter argument to it, in addition to what Josh said, is that from a real practical point of view, when somebody buys $1 million card, there's $1 million entering into that player's market on that particular day. Whereas if somebody transacts their, if we're talking about, the Kobe Bryant market, and somebody's, transacting in his 10th tier rookie card that might have a high population, but it's only worth a few $100. Just because somebody buys that $300 card and the next day they buy it for $350, we don't want to see that big of a percentage change represented, because the actual money flowing in that player's market is not even close to changing. But if somebody comes into the Kobe market and spends $1 million on a card that was $500,000 a few months ago, which will show up in the index because it meets the criteria, that the index has a requirement that a card has to have sold at least once in the last 6 months, at least twice in the last year in order to even qualify for the index. So if that does happen, then, that's actually representing a real quantitative cash flow change to that player's market that matters. So,
The most annoying stat that I see in card ladder is when I sort by percentage, and it's like some raw card went from $1.50 to $4, because, and it's like, this is not what I was looking for, so I have to put in a min value. So it's almost like my argument the other way is it's just as powerful.
Yep. Right. Okay. Kevin Cormier wants to know, does the index count MySlab sales differently as a weighted data point? Some people list lower on MySlabs because they don't pay eBay fees, but it can bring a comp down. Or if someone were to list a card on eBay for $500 and then list it on MySlabs for $460, is that a close enough range that it doesn't matter? My answer to this is, generally speaking, card ladder data takes the point of view of the buyer. So what is of interest is how much money is the buyer paying. And so if the buyer is buying a card on MySlabs for $460, that represents what the buyer paid. If they pay $500 for it on eBay, that's what they paid. This is from the buyer or the collector's point of view. The data is being tracked. Ideally, we'd be able to track sales tax paid too, but we can't because we don't know what state these buyers live in. So we can't track that, but we can track everything else. Do you want to add anything on to that?
Yes. Our job is to produce the values that are reported to us from these marketplaces, and not to use subjectivity to alter the values they give us. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well said. I get where he's coming from. I get the origin of the question.
Yeah, but that's a subjective thing to say, like, oh, MySlabs generally sells for 5% lower, so let's just lower. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. Okay. Clutch Melly Card says, there are themes in these questions this week that's kind of interesting. He says, how do you get friends that are into cards? Okay, so we're thinking about our friends here a lot this week too.
They need someone to pawn their cards off on.
How do you get your friends that are into cards? How do you get them out of the YouTube flipper mindset? And how do you get them into a collector mindset? I've suggested binging Cardboard Chronicles videos and other sources, but I've only seen mild returns.
Notice how I was like semi-rude to that question asker, and then they immediately was like they were nice to me and said they were looking at my videos and being a collector, like I look like a doofus. Wait till he finishes the question, Josh. How do you get them away from the content? I don't know, man. This kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier today, where it's like it's really hard to like force someone to go down the path that you want them to go down, and it's almost like you gotta let them make the mistake on their own, kind of thing. This is more of like a parenting question. How do you get your kid to stop doing drugs? Probably not by screaming at them to stop doing drugs. I don't know, man. That's tough. Maybe just like here's like a better answer. Just show them better content, like direct them, give them some tips on what potentially could replace it and what's something that they could fill their experiences with that are better than the stuff that you think that they're doing that's bad.
Yep. And or great answers there. How about this? If they're really into the YouTube Flipper content, and you've shown them alternatives, but it's just not their cup of tea, I think you've done what you can do.
Let them flip.
They like.
You gotta write them off. That's what you gotta do at that point.
Okay.
Let them flip.
If they're watching their own content, there's no hope for them. Let them flip.
Let them flip. Let them be.
And definitely don't in my opinion, you defeat your purpose before you even start if you try to convince or persuade or push them into looking at other types of content. You can go so far as letting them know it's available, but beyond that, you just have to let people do what they're going to do. They might even resist, gravitating towards the type of content you want them to gravitate towards if you're pushing it on them. Yeah.
Did we get any basketball questions this week? I'm not pushing you to ask them, but I feel like the collector content's been rolling and people seem to enjoy it as well.
This week was a flood of collector-related questions, but we are just about exhausted from them. There was one here that came from Sports Card Stallion that I wanted to touch on real quick. He says, is one tweet from College Kid, is the influence of one tweet dangerous for the hobby, specifically for newcomers? And the tweet that he's referring to is this tweet, tweeted by an account named College Kid, spelled with K's. I'm not familiar with that account. Don't hate me for that. He says John Morant's rookie card got Young Dolph and Key Glock on it, and then he circles them. And then this tweet had 25,000 retweets, 26,050 quotes, and oh my God, nearly 250,000 likes. And then after this tweet, or around the same time as this tweet, the value of that card jumped up quite a bit.
Who are those two people in the photo?
The two people in the photo, their names are Young Dolph and Key Glock, and they are rappers. And I know at least one of them has died.
I'm so lost on this. I have not heard about this.
Well, okay.
That card went from $5 to 20. Isn't that like a base card?
Yeah, that is a base card.
Like the Mark Jackson thing?
Yeah. No, not quite, because the Menendez brothers, they were the killers themselves.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, the focus is on the background of the card, and it had some hype around it, and the value went up for no real reason.
Well, and I guess there's a little more context to it too, which is there's a Memphis connection, being that they are from Memphis, and plus John Morant is having an absolutely phenomenal year in the hobbies. There's a lot of stars aligning, but basically the question is hey, is it a problem that one tweet can go out and cause a market to skyrocket? In all likelihood, probably on a temporary basis.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really going to matter either way. I mean, it's just one card.
Right. I mean, and this is how marketing works. This is how advertisements work. And I'm not, I am not a huge fan of the TV, television commercial, or advertising industries personally. So I'm sympathetic to the idea that there's something inherently manipulative about, persuading people through different tactics to buy things. But nonetheless, those industries exist. They're a very real part of capitalism, very real part of our culture. And this tweet is pretty innocuous. It's pretty innocent by those standards. So, it says John Morant's rookie card has Young Dolph and Key Glock on it. So, look, there's worries about pump and dump here. There's all types of worries. They're valid. Those worries are valid. Okay, those are valid considerations. I just want to give voice to those and not just dismiss them. If that is in fact going on, it's a problem.
Well, I'm just gonna say, the way that it's phrased, it's kind of this isn't the 90s anymore. There's not just one rookie card for each individual. So people might be thinking this is his one rookie card with these people on it. Therefore, the one rookie card will remain valuable in the future, but that's not true here.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And I've never ever been drawn to the, content that's sort of more clickbaity and short-term thinking of, hey, this should, this one thing today should be doubling the entire market because Drake opened a card, and it's just like I've never quite understood that type of content, because as we've seen, like the thing that drives the hobby the most is sort of like genuine long-term collecting and investing and people that are in it for the long term. And so I just never, we see it all the time. We just sort of make fun of it at this point to see the short-term content thinking.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Kendall does cards. Wants us to talk about the housing market. I am nowhere near qualified to talk about the housing market.
Someone told me it's up.
It's up.
And I was the dingus that didn't post that in my story. That how dare you forget about the housing market, which is still going up.
How dare you? Also, it's not, according to one of the most widely accepted indexes, because it's very difficult to index the housing market, because it's not like the same house is selling month after month. So these indexes often use consumer feedback or feedback from real estate professionals. And the index, it's an acronym. It's like NAMBLH or something. This is the index that I've looked at. It's down 7% year over year. So
probably like inflation and supply shortages.
Yeah. Also, like my understanding is that the housing market is going to go down in the future because as interest rates rise, the costs of obtaining a mortgage goes up, and that means people have less money to spend on a house relative to the cost of their loan, and it means that less people are going to be wanting to buy houses. So just like every other market, the real estate market is staring down the barrel of some scary times.
But there's also like big corporations that have been buying up homes, and that's one of the big reasons that it's been so inflated is that they're like hoarding homes and pricing people out of buying homes.
Yeah, gee, I hope nobody tries to do that in the hobby.
The difference is that like people need homes.
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of sad and scary that there's like corporations buying up necessities that humans need to survive and stuff. It's scary. I don't like that.
Oh yeah,
beautiful capitalism, guys. Beautiful capitalism.
Okay, 615 collector. So 615 collector had a sequence of comments. He had the 3 words one, which related to the index. Then he has a 2 words one. His 2 words comment is Chris Paul. So I made an Instagram story today because I actually dug into the numbers when I was doing a little bit of research into the Suns Mavericks series. Chris Paul going into tonight's game.
Yeah,
third
thanks.
in the playoffs in PER. He's averaging 10 assists per game. He's averaging 2 steals per game and only 36 minutes per game. And his shooting splits are 58, 33, and 97% from the free throw line. I think he has a case similar to Jimmy Butler, although Butler is tapering off a bit. He has a case as the best player who's playing in the playoffs right now. And I know that you're not totally comfortable to, you don't want to shill for your guy, even though if ever there's a player who warrants it, if ever there's a player who is underrated, if ever there's a guy who's getting no media love, despite being arguably the best player in the league right now, it's Chris Paul. I'm happy to say it.
It's also his 37th birthday.
And that's what's so fucking funny, too, to me. Like, that you started collecting Paul not that long ago, but you'd been a big fan of his, but like a few years ago you started collecting him. And then you settled on a guy who's, like, got such an impeccable resume, and he, he's in the later stage of his career. It's a conservative choice that is on brand. But I don't even think you could have expected
No,
37 that he would be playing an MVP level.
Well, look, when he plays like that, they win, and when he doesn't, they lose. So he threw up a dud tonight. He had 7 turnovers in the first half, and guess what? They lost. That's most NBA teams. If your superstar sucks, then you're going to lose. No, I did not expect him to be this awesome. I sort of started collecting him because it was safer bet. It's already happened for the most part. He's already been good in the past, and there's not much legacy left for him to write. So it's been a nice surprise, and I was at the game on Wednesday, and it was just an incredible time just to root on him and I mean, yeah, he's playing great.
Dude, he was amazing in that game. Okay, 615 collector. Then his one word. So we did 3 words, 2 words. His one word is Giannis. Go.
Whoa, go.
What comes to mind?
I mean, I still think he's the best player in the NBA right now. Based on the fact that he won Finals MVP last year, that's usually just like my main, like, kind of boring argument. I know you have different arguments. And he struggled in game 2. I expect him to rebound. He looked great in game 1. I think he's a super important piece to the hobby success. I think he's a player that, you know, a lot of guys have invested into and collected him. And, you know, I said this point on on Rob's show that basketball has traditionally had this sort of, you know, passing of the torch in terms of, you know, the best athlete sort of dominating the time and then also representing the hobby for that amount of time. You know, we've been lucky to kind of go from Jordan to Kobe to LeBron, and we've had other great players obviously in between, but Giannis seems to be kind of one of the potential players to take that torch away from LeBron as he gets older. So I think it's exciting, and I think he has that ability.
Well said. Well said. I wanted to call attention to an item that is in the PWCC Premier that relates to Giannis. So I just went to Card Ladder's shop feature, and I typed in Giannis Prism Gold. This saves me so much time when I do this. And then I scrolled until I got to here. This is Giannis's rookie Prism Gold in a BGS 9.5. It has 10 edges but 9 corners. The other 2 subs are 9.5s. And this card is currently at 300,000.
Oh my god!
It's in the next PWCC Premier. So
what a sick card!
Really, really cool card, and that card's gonna make a statement for the state of the Giannis market.
How's that gold bubble work out?
Right.
That's a great card, man. Second year Prism. You know, the most important rookie card of that sort of little mini era there, and, you know, monster card.
And I'll just, speaking of Prism Gold, here's a 2019 Giannis Prism Gold. Also in the same auction with 12 days left. It's at $7,000.
Well,
holy shit.
Dude, the Prism Gold stuff is just on fire. Like, there's no way around it. Steph Curry, Giannis, LeBron, all the big name guys, even some of like the lower end ones are, you know, like $1,000 because people want to finish sets or whatever, and so Prism Golds are on fire.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, we are at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. It's a good time to call it. I'm glad we did a show this week. I think the community's glad we did a show this week. Thank you guys for the great questions. Anything you want to conclude on before we wrap up this week's show?
No, I just hope these basketball series keep being entertaining. They've all been really exciting so far. Excited to keep watching. Every series now has a win from both teams. Yeah. So there's now, you know, every series is a series. We got basketball.
It's pretty awesome too. I'm so glad Embiid is back. And I think the 76ers are a totally different team now. And if I was the Heat, I'm starting to get a little worried.
He didn't even play great tonight.
No, he did.
He honestly, dude, when he went out there, I was nervous because he looked hesitant to get out there, and he looked like he was in pain still, and he looked like, oh my god, I have to do this, but I don't want to. And he toughed it out. He obviously, you know, wasn't quite himself. He didn't play too great, but to your point, he got the team, you know, excited and got them believing again, and maybe that's all it takes sometimes. Yeah,
and they slammed that door in the second half emphatically.
Their defense was incredible. The Heat scored 79 points.
All right. Have a good one, Josh, and we will see you guys next week.
See ya.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we put in our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. And you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop!
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top!
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top!
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top!
Card Ladder 2.0.